Human beings are often shaped by the way they think. Many philosophers, writers, and successful leaders have repeated this truth in different forms. Napoleon Hill, in his famous book Think and Grow Rich, once said, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." History shows countless examples of people like Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, and Jeff Bezos, individuals who dared to think differently, and as a result changed not only their own lives, but also the lives of millions around the world. And yet, if this is really true, why do so many people struggle? Why do countless men and women fail to reach their dreams? Why do they not see their own hidden potential? If thoughts truly create destiny, then why are there beggars on the streets, students who give up on their education, and workers who feel trapped in jobs they dislike? Today's story explores these questions through the journey of one ordinary man, a beggar whose life was transformed forever. Stay with this story until the end, because not only will you learn a powerful life lesson, but you will also encounter new English words and phrases to strengthen your language skills. Once upon a time, at a small and noisy tram station in a busy city, there lived a beggar. His life was simple yet difficult. Each day he stretched out his hand and asked passengers for coins while they waited for their tram. His clothes were ragged, his hair unkempt, and his eyes carried the dullness of someone who had stopped expecting miracles. The beggar survived only by the generosity of strangers. Some ignored him, others threw a coin or two, and occasionally a kind soul offered him food. But deep inside, he never questioned his way of living. He simply assumed this was his destiny. One afternoon, while reaching out his hand as usual, he noticed a man stepping onto the platform. The stranger wore an expensive suit, carried himself with calm confidence, and radiated an aura of success. The beggar thought to himself, "Surely this man is wealthy. If I ask him, maybe he will give me a larger amount than others." Encouraged by this thought, the beggar hurried toward the gentleman, extended his hand, and whispered, "Please, sir, a little help." But instead of handing him money, the businessman stopped, looked directly into his eyes, and asked calmly, "Do you always just take from others? Have you ever given anything to anyone?" The beggar froze. Never in his entire life had anyone asked him such a question. Embarrassed and confused, he replied softly, "Sir, I am only a beggar. I survive by asking. I own nothing that I can give to anyone." The businessman smiled faintly, shook his head, and said, "If you truly believe you have nothing to give, then you also do not deserve to receive. Life is built on exchange, not on taking. I am a businessman. I believe in fair trade. If you can offer me something of value, I will gladly give you something in return. But if you insist that you have nothing, then how can I give you anything at all?" With those words, the man stepped onto the tram and disappeared, leaving the beggar standing in silence, his mind spinning. The beggar could not forget those words. All evening he replayed the conversation in his head. If you have nothing to give, you have nothing to receive. For the first time, he questioned his way of life. Maybe this is why people rarely give me more than a coin. I never offer anything in return. I simply take and take. That night, as he lay awake on the cold floor of the station, he asked himself, "But what can I possibly give? I am only a beggar. I own nothing." And yet, the businessman's words echoed like thunder. If you want to receive, you must first give. 2 days passed. He could not bring himself to ask for money. His mind was too busy searching for an answer. On the 3rd day, while sitting on the platform, his eyes caught a small bundle of wildflowers growing near the tram tracks. Their bright colors glowed against the gray concrete, and suddenly an idea struck him like lightning. What if instead of only begging, I give something in return? What if I offer flowers whenever someone helps me? Excited, he gently picked a few blossoms, returned to his spot, and waited. When the next person dropped a coin into his palm, he smiled, bowed, and handed them a flower. The reaction was magical. The passenger's eyes lit up, and a genuine smile spread across their face. "Thank you," they said, surprised and pleased. From that moment, the beggar made it his rule. Every coin he received would be answered with a flower. Days turned into weeks. Something remarkable began to happen. People started noticing the beggar with flowers. Instead of avoiding him, they approached him willingly, sometimes even bringing him food or extra coins. They appreciated the small gesture of receiving something beautiful in return. The beggar observed a clear pattern. Whenever he had flowers to give, the donations increased. Whenever he ran out, people gave less. One afternoon, while handing out blossoms, he noticed the same businessman sitting inside the tram. Heart pounding, the beggar approached and said, "Sir, today I have something to offer. If you give me a coin, I will give you flowers in exchange." The businessman smiled warmly, handed him money, and accepted the flowers. "You have understood the value of exchange," he said. "You are no longer just a beggar. You are becoming a businessman." These words struck the beggar deeper than any coin ever could. For the first time, he felt a sense of dignity and purpose. That evening, the beggar thought long and hard. Am I really a businessman now? Can it be true? Suddenly, clarity washed over him. Yes, I am no longer a beggar. People do not give me money out of pity anymore. They pay for the flowers I provide. I am running a business. Determined, he made a bold decision. He would never beg again. Instead, he would sell flowers. The very next day, he left the station with newfound confidence. 6 months passed. The man once known as a beggar was now running a modest but growing flower business. He bought flowers in bulk, arranged them beautifully, and sold them at different corners of the city. His clothes were clean, his eyes sparkled with ambition, and his life had transformed completely. One bright morning, at the same tram station, 2 well-dressed men shook hands. One of them looked familiar. The businessman squinted, then suddenly widened his eyes in surprise. "Wait a moment. Aren't you the beggar I once refused to give money to? And later, the man who handed me flowers?" The former beggar smiled confidently. "Yes, that was me. But today I am no longer a beggar. I own a successful flower business, and I'm traveling to expand it further." The businessman was amazed. "This is incredible. What changed?" The man replied, "You taught me one of life's greatest lessons. We only receive when we first give." That day, I realized I was never truly a beggar. I had the potential of a businessman within me all along. I just needed to see myself differently. The 2 men shook hands again, this time as equals. Life is shaped not by what others give us, but by how we see ourselves and what we choose to offer the world. If you believe you are small, you will remain small. But if you recognize your inner potential, you can rise to greatness. Never limit yourself. Think of yourself as strong, capable, and worthy of success. Because once your thoughts change, your future changes as well. So, remember this. Before asking what life can give you, ask yourself what you can give to life. If you enjoyed this story, like it, share it with friends, and leave a comment about what you learned. Together, let's inspire others to see the power of giving, the importance of self-belief, and the beauty of transforming thoughts into reality.